You may have heard of this genre, meditative music or meditation piano playing or ambient music or minimalist music or even new age music. You might have heard of this. You might have even heard some of this music and wondered, what is this and where did it come from? Today we're going to be answering those questions as well as why you should have a go at composing in this style, no matter how much of a beginner you are on the piano. My name's Ruth Power and I'm the founder of pianopicnic.com, where you can learn to play the piano creatively, bite by bite, and you don't have to learn to read a lick of sheet music. So today we're talking about meditative music. So let's ask ourselves this question first. What is meditation? Meditation is when you allow your mind to be fully present in the moment. There's sort of two streams of meditation. There's meditation where we specifically close ourselves off from the world and the day and try to vacate our mind of any thoughts that we're hanging on to and just be in the moment, focusing on usually our breath, or sometimes we might have some audio trying to put us in a specific scene or atmosphere or situation that makes us focus on that specific moment and not all the thoughts swirling around in our head. There's also mindfulness where we are doing an activity, but we're fully present in that one activity rather than thinking about all the other things that we have to do today. So playing music and playing the piano can actually be a meditative experience when we fully focus on what we are doing, when we slow down, where we focus on our breathing, and we are 100% in listening to what we're playing and creating something that is intentional. It's a genre of music that emphasizes tone and atmosphere over the more traditional Western song elements, which are form and structure, rhythm, melody, harmony, all those things. So even though we can have some of those traditional things like melody and harmony and some rhythm, it's generally kept to a minimal to encourage a sense of calm and contemplation and to create more of an atmosphere where we can feel relaxed and not distracted by any one thing. Minimalism was a style that was explored by a composer called Erik Satie. He called it furniture music for some reason, because when he described wanting to create music that would sit in the background of people's dinner parties. So when you're having dinner and then there's a lull in conversation, that lull would be filled by just a beautiful, unobtrusive music underneath. Also in 1948, the French composer Pierre Schaeffer coined the term musique concrète, and he would create atmospheric music using samples of music and also samples of atmospheric noises like birds, trees, the wind, and he would loop those samples that he collected and create a composition out of it. In 1952, John Cage created his famous three-movement composition called 4:33, 4 minutes 33, where it's essentially someone sitting at the piano doing nothing. But the idea behind this composition was that you're capturing all the atmospheric noises of that performance. So the atmospheric noises of the venue, of the audience, of the surrounding of the venue, whether there's birds outside. When you listen to a recording of that piece, you have to listen very, very carefully to hear what is actually the composition is natural noises made in that moment. It then developed into ambient music, which is the phrase coined by Brian Eno, who of course was famous for Roxy music and then becoming a specialist in the ambient music genre in the 60s and 70s with that invention of the synth becoming popularized. People would start to use things like these beautiful pad noises to create a sound bed underneath and really fill out that atmospheric feel. Throughout the decades, composers have experimented with creating the atmosphere that this style has, using sound effects that reference a particular scenery or frame of mind, or actually directly sampling scenery. So having, for instance, you can sample the sound of rain falling and record that and use that in part of your composition, Or you can reference the sound of rain by using the percussion called the rainmaker, the little sounds like cornflakes falling from one end of a tube to the other, to reference the sound of rain. So there's that literal and not literal, more figurative version of composing for these atmospheric sceneries. Why should I give it a go? Well, because the emphasis on this style of composition is on atmosphere and tone and texture rather than the traditional song elements of, a very set in stone repetitive structure, or a harmony that goes somewhere on a journey, or a melody that soars to great heights in the chorus. You don't have to worry about acquiring those skills in order to compose in this style. So it's a great style to give composition a go, even if you're just a beginner on the piano. No matter what simple things you can piece out on maybe even one or two chords, even in just the key of C major, you can come up with something and add some atmospheric sounds. The composition is in putting the different sounds and tones together to create a feeling more than it is about which notes you're going to play and trying to be clever with those notes. So it's a great place to start if you've never tried composition before. If you don't have a keyboard that's capable of doing pads or synths, you can use your acoustic piano to create those atmospheric noises. You can create a prepared piano using your acoustic piano by putting pieces of paper or small objects inside the piano on the hammers or on the strings in order to make a sound that's more crunchy or muted. You can also explore the percussive noises that you can create with your hands on the outer wooden shell of the piano. You can even swirl your hand around in a circle or swipe on the surface of the piano lid or knock on the piano lid or the piano frame. You can even kick lightly the bass of the piano where your feet are. That makes a cool little bass drum sort of noise. And also you can use effects with sliding your foot off the pedal, or the pedal using the sustain pedal or the sostenuto pedal. There's so many things and textures that you can explore with an acoustic piano. You don't necessarily need a keyboard that has pads and synth sounds on it. Also, as I said, you can go out into your nature around where you live, or even go further afield and record some nature sounds that you might want to integrate into your composition. Now, of course, one of the important parts of composing in this is being able to layer different sounds over each other, and therefore you need to have some sort of recording software. You can put any recording software on your computer, even the most simple GarageBand for iOS, or even BandLab for Android. You can have it on your phone, your device. You can use Audacity as well if you've got a PC. But just find a way to record your composition so that you can layer different sounds and different, what we call samples, recordings of those nature sounds that you found over the top of maybe some minimal piano playing. So in a nutshell, that's what meditative music is and how you can start composing in that style, even with a limited piano knowledge. You can be inspired by the nature around you and start composing and listening to more of this style if you need to be inspired. If you want to learn more about how to compose on piano, make sure you check out my membership, The Creative Pianist, at pianopitnet.com/creative. I do trainings on improvising in the style, as well as how to compose and how to put different elements together, so that you can create lots of these compositions, not only over time, but also on the fly, which is what we call improvising, so that you can get those meditative benefits from playing the piano. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Make sure you give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Also, you got to click that little bell thing so that you get notified. All of the things really help me out. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you later.